Inferno in a royal household, the Great Fire of Windsor. Good afternoon. For the Queen, it's a home, a place of family memories.
For the world, it's a symbol of Britain, part of our national heritage. On Friday, a significant part was devastated by fire, a state banqueting hall reduced to smouldering embers. This evening, we'll witness how violently the fire took hold, how valiantly they fought to save national treasures, and we'll ask how will the damage be repaired and who will bear the cost.
We start, though, with this afternoon's news from Windsor. As Ken Andrew reports, there was a royal inspection.
Prince Edward arrived at Windsor Castle this lunchtime to see for himself the full extent of the damage. First reports indicate the stone fabric of the castle, walls up to 23 feet thick, are relatively undamaged. But the wooden ceilings and panelling which fueled the spectacular fire still smoulder.
There are certain areas of the building which are very dangerous because there's been many floors collapsed with severe timber, collapsed and molten lead. That's a dangerous, precarious situation.
However, order is slowly being restored after the weekend's chaos. Throughout the day, soldiers who guard and protect the castle have been returning some of the priceless artifacts hurriedly removed from the scene. But royal watchers believe the calm of the Queen's favourite weekend retreat will not be restored so easily.
There are a number of apartments here which are away from where the fire was and pretty extensive, and they're pretty nice, and there's still a lot of very valuable paintings, Canalettos and Van Dycks and that sort of thing in it. But indeed, outside all the time will be workmen, and like any housewife, workmen do get under your feet and they're a great irritant, so that will upset her.
The fire has also had a profound effect on the people of Windsor. The castle dominates the town. As a tourist attraction, it provides work for a lot of people here. On Friday, it was their castle in flames.
We came up on Friday night and saw the flames coming out. It just makes you feel physically sick.
We all feel that it's part of our home that's gone. This is ours as well as Her Majesty the Queen.
The job of repairing the castle will begin soon. Workman Dean Lansdale, the last one out on Friday, will put his memories behind him.
I think I was pulling paintings out for about 5 minutes myself, and then it just got too hot. The flames would then reach, we were running right up to the flames, pulling out, and then it got too hot, and then someone just said no more.
The tourists will still come to Gorp, but it will be some time before Windsor Castle looks her best again. Ken Andrew reporting from Windsor.
Last Friday, the day the castle burned, was the Queen's 45th wedding anniversary. She was expected at Windsor for the weekend, but was still at Buckingham Palace when her favourite home caught light. This is the story of the fire, told through news footage and through video shot by the fire brigade themselves.
The first shout, fire, echoes down the royal corridors shortly after 11:30 in the morning. Flames lick at curtains in the Queen's private chapel in the northeast wing. Tourists and day trippers quickly learn something is wrong.
On the walkie-talkie, somebody said, fire in St George's Hall.
Berkshire Fire Brigade is already putting a full-scale emergency plan into action. A call is logged at 11:37. But within minutes, a pall of smoke can be seen for miles around. Flames come shooting through the roof of St George's Hall, a room of priceless splendour and an historical venue for state banquets. The fire is spreading fast, devouring wooden panelling and roaring through the hall's false ceiling.
There are many, many hidden avenues or hidden paths for a fire to travel. And if you take St George's Hall itself, it has a 6-foot false ceiling. And if you can imagine, there's a void, therefore, that runs the whole length of the hall, 6 feet deep, through which the fire could travel. Now, there is no way that the fire brigade can actually get to that area to inject water in at an intermediate stage. So consequently, to the naked eye, if you like, it would appear that the fire is at one end of the hall. But what's actually happened, it's entered this void and travelled along the void, and it's right along at the other end of the hall.
By now, the people of Windsor are gathering in disbelief. The magnitude of the disaster is becoming apparent. Then the first word that a member of the royal family is here.
The Buckingham Palace confirmed that he was here overnight. Prince Andrew was actually here this morning.
A clamour for more information, but everything gives way to the firefighters.
No, it's hard to say at the moment. You've got...
More than 2 hours in, and the blaze has a real hold, deep into the northeast sector of the castle. Prince Andrew gives his reaction to the press.
A shock and horror in the fact that it took hold so quickly. I mean, I happened to be around the castle when it started, and I heard the fire alarm, and some 2 or 3 minutes later, when I came out of the room that I was actually in, you could see the smoke, not as extensive as it is now, but you could definitely see it.
What was your mother's reaction?
Her Majesty was shocked. Not in a part of the castle that was attached to this. I was down in the mews. And then I came up to see if I could help, and yes, I could. Let's get as much as we possibly can out. There was no time to think of anything else.
It emerges that the prince is personally involved in a huge salvage operation. Human chains pass down priceless books, paintings and furniture. Masterpieces and national heirlooms litter the terraces and lawns. Castle staff, volunteers and the army tell stories of passing world-famous artefacts through their hands. They save millions of pounds worth.
It's Queen's furniture, boxes of jewellery, all sorts of things like that.
What sort of condition was everything in that you moved?
It was the stuff that we moved was perfectly all right, because we were just moving out of the rooms in case the fire spread into them rooms, so it wouldn't destroy all that as well.
At one stage, it takes 43 soldiers to move one huge carpet. The Queen spends time at the scene. She's said to be devastated. The fire rages on. The courtyard looks like a battlefield. 35 appliances and more than 200 firefighters. 7 people will be hurt, although none of them seriously. The job remains hazardous.
Okay, we'll give it a go. Sucking air in, so there's something's going in there, isn't there? We can't get to that, can we?
This is the north. From the outbreak and the private chapel, the fire has spread south towards the Queen's apartments, north into Brunswick Tower and along the whole length of St George's Hall. The brigade's strategy is to create fire breaks at the Chester Tower and at the Clock Tower to hold the heat at bay.
At every floor level in the building, at those breaks, including on the roof and in the basement, we have had personnel deployed with hoses, with ample water, to make sure that we can stop the fire at that point. It's extremely dangerous because the building itself, of course, is being an old building, is very complicated. It's not like a new house. There are failed to locate 4 members of our crews, and we had to evacuate the building and satisfy ourselves that they were safe.
Firefighter Johns of the Bucks Fire Brigade, report to the control unit.